What happens when a rising economic superpower gets pulled into war? India is now the world's fifth largest economy, a country building global factories, attracting billion-dollar investments, and leading the charge in innovation. But tensions with Pakistan have once again flared up. There's military movement, shelling at the border, and strong words flying from both sides. This time, the real question isn't just who wins the war. It's what happens to India's economy if war actually breaks out. Let's break it down, because this story isn't just about missiles. It's about markets, manufacturing, and your future. On April 22, 2025, a terror attack in Pahalgam, Jammu and Kashmir killed 26 civilians. Intelligence reports traced the attack back to Pakistan-based groups. India reacted sharply, first diplomatically, then economically. It suspended the Indus Water Treaty, reducing water access to Pakistan. Trade to Atari Wagha border, which handled over $470 million in trade last year, was completely stopped. Soon after, on May 7th, India launched Operation Sindoor. A series of coordinated drone and missile strikes hit 9 terror camps inside Pakistan and Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. The strikes led by Colonel Sophia Qureshi and Wing Commander Vyomika Singh were sharp, silent, and surgical. The war sent shockwaves through the economy. Let's talk numbers. Over 27 airports near the Western Front were shut. More than 430 flights were either cancelled or rerouted, costing crores to the aviation industry. Tourism in Kashmir, once booming with 3 million visitors in 2024, crashed overnight. Bookings vanished, hotels went empty. On the ground, border towns saw evacuations, school closures, and infrastructure put on hold. Markets began to feel the heat. The Karachi Stock Exchange fell by nearly 10% in one day. Meanwhile, India's Sensex rose 105 points, driven by investor confidence in the defense sector. Shares of HAL, Bharat Dynamics, and Paras Defense jumped 5 to 10%. And India had just signed a $7.6 billion Rafale deal with France. Why? Because war boosts defense stocks, but shakes the rest of the economy. Manufacturing slows, logistics suffer, foreign investment gets cautious. And here's the big one. India is the global hope for replacing China. Western companies are shifting factories to India. But those investments depend on one thing: stability. If investors sense political or regional instability, they could look elsewhere: Vietnam, Indonesia, or even back to China. Well, it's not just about India and Pakistan anymore. It's about the future of Asia and whether India can lead without losing control of the economy. Let's talk about history. After the 1965 war, India's GDP dropped from 7.5% to 2.6%. In 1971, it fell to 1.6%. But in 1999, during the Kargil conflict, GDP actually rose to 8.9% because the war was short, targeted, and the economy remained functional. Today's India is very different. It's more connected to the world economy than ever before. We're talking about semiconductors, electric vehicles, AI innovation, and space missions. But war doesn't just affect GDP numbers. They hit jobs, business confidence, customer spending, and even your monthly grocery bills due to rising fuel and supply chain costs. And let's not forget the currency. The rupee weakens in uncertain times, making imports expensive and inflation harder to control. Meanwhile, global players are also reacting. The US is calling for peace. China is watching quietly, but strategically. Israel backs India. And now, Turkey is quietly supporting Pakistan. Diplomatically, this puts India in a tight spot. Because it's not just about winning battles. It's about maintaining global trust. On May 12th, Prime Minister Narendra Modi addressed the nation. His words were clear and deliberate. India will not tolerate nuclear blackmail. We will not be the first to escalate, but we will be the last to blink. So, can India survive a war economically? Yes, but with clear conditions. If the war is short and focused, India may even come out stronger, like it did in 1999. But if the conflict drags on, the economy damage could be serious. Delay in foreign investment, rupee depreciation, supply chain disruptions, higher taxes and borrowing, job losses in sensitive sectors. Remember, India's strength today lies in its economic rise, not just its military might. The real power is in factories, startups, infrastructure, and youth innovation. In a globalized world, bullets can hit borders, but economic rebels hit every household. So, if you're a student, an entrepreneur, a worker, or an investor, you're not separate from this war. You're a part of what's at stake. If this video gave you a new perspective, like, comment, and share. And if you're building something bold in a world full of uncertainties, connect with us at exitfund.com.